Have you ever received an invitation you wish you hadn't? One that sent chills down your spine and made your heart race with curiosity? That's exactly how I felt when I found a mysterious, unmarked envelope on my doorstep. Inside, it held 3 items that would change my life forever: a key, a map, and a note. A simple note that read, "You won't regret it." Now you're probably thinking, that's a bit sinister, isn't it? But you see, I've always been one for adventure. The thrill of the unknown has always been a siren's call for me. So instead of dismissing this odd invitation, I was drawn to it like a moth to a flame. The key was old and worn, a relic from a bygone era. It felt heavy in my hand, as if it held a history and stories begging to be unlocked. The map, on the other hand, was a stark contrast. Pristine and untouched, it led to a secluded location deep within the woods, a place so remote it was as if it wanted to be forgotten by the world. And then there was the note. Those 3 simple words, "You won't regret it," were etched onto the paper. The handwriting was elegant yet rushed, as if the writer was in a hurry, or perhaps they couldn't wait to share their secret. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a thirst for adventure, I decided to accept this unsettling invitation. I was ready to unlock the secrets that lay in the heart of the woods, ready to embark on an adventure that promised excitement, mystery, and maybe even a touch of danger. But as I was about to discover, this wasn't just an invitation to a secluded cabin in the woods. This was an invitation to a world I never knew existed. A world shrouded in mystery and cloaked in darkness. A world that was about to turn my life upside down. Little did I know, this wasn't an invitation to a party, but a doorway to the unknown. The journey to the unknown often starts with a single step into the dark. So began my trek into the heart of the woods, the path ahead shrouded in an eerie silence. A map was my only guide, the inked lines leading me deeper into the labyrinth of towering trees and whispering leaves. This wasn't a journey of leisure, but a venture into the unknown, into a story that had haunted my imagination, a tale that seemed too chilling to be true. As my boots crunched on the carpet of dried leaves, the woods seemed to close in around me, the shadows growing darker, the silence more profound. The deeper I ventured, the more uncanny the woods became. The trees seemed to sway with an unseen force, their branches scratching the sky like skeletal fingers. The wind carried a ghostly melody, whispering tales of forgotten times and unspoken fears. The rustling leaves seemed to speak in hushed tones as if sharing secrets not meant for human ears. The sky above was a tapestry of grey, the sun a mere ghost behind the thick veil of clouds. Time seemed to lose its meaning here, each moment stretching into an eternity. The hoot of an owl echoed in the distance, a solitary sentinel in this realm of shadows and whispers. The air was heavy with an intangible sense of foreboding, the forest's subtle warning to those who dared to tread its sacred grounds. Every rustle, every howl, every crack of a twig underfoot seemed to amplify the sense of unease creeping into my consciousness. As I trudged on, the undergrowth thinned, revealing a clearing. And there, looming ominously in the heart of the wilderness, was the cabin. Its timbered silhouette perched on the edge of the world, a silent testament to the story I was here to uncover. As the cabin came into view, an undeniable sense of dread washed over me. This wasn't just a journey into the woods, but a descent into a pit of fear and uncertainty. But there was no turning back now. The story had to be told, the truth uncovered, and the journey had only just begun. Have you ever looked at a place and felt like it's looking back at you? That's how I felt standing in front of the cabin. It was old, weathered, and held a certain sinister charm that was hard to ignore. The once vibrant paint had faded into a grimy grey, and the windows were like vacant eyes staring into the abyss. The key, old and rusty, fit perfectly into the lock with a satisfying click. I pushed open the door and a waft of stale, musty air hit me. The cabin's interior was eerily untouched, as if time itself had decided to bypass this place. The furniture was coated with a thick layer of dust, and cobwebs hung like ghostly veils from the corners of the room. I stepped inside, and the floorboards groaned under my weight, a chilling welcome from the old wood. Each step echoed throughout the cabin, bouncing off the bare walls and empty rooms. The cabin seemed to breathe with me, its wooden skeleton creaking and groaning in response to my every movement. As I explored, I noticed an old grandfather clock standing sentry in the corner, its hands frozen at the stroke of midnight. A chill ran down my spine as I realized the silence wasn't just the absence of noise. It was the silence of a place holding its breath, waiting, watching. I moved further into the cabin, my footsteps the only disturbance in the thick blanket of silence. The cabin was like a grotesque museum, a testament to a time long forgotten, and I was an unwelcome visitor disturbing its slumber. Passing by a worn-out mirror, I caught my reflection. My face was a stark contrast against the backdrop of the old, decaying cabin. I felt a shiver ripple through me. I was a stranger in this forgotten world, an intruder in a place that seemed to exist outside of time itself. And then I saw it, an inconspicuous door standing oddly apart from the rest of the cabin. It was locked, adding to the mystery of the place. My heart pounded in my chest as I wondered, what was behind it? What would you do if you found something that should have stayed hidden? There's a chilling sensation that sweeps over you when you cross the threshold of the forbidden. It's the same feeling that overwhelmed me as I turned the key in the lock, the door creaking open to reveal the dark secrets that lay within. You see, this wasn't just a cabin. It was a vault of nightmares, a repository for the gruesome and grotesque. The air was thick with the scent of mold and something else, something metallic, like blood. The room I entered was a sanctuary of the macabre, a shrine to the horrifying. Every surface was covered with artifacts that sent shivers down your spine. Masks with grotesque features, dolls with eyes that seemed to follow you, jars filled with unidentifiable objects floating in murky liquids. It was a collection that could only be curated by someone with a deep fascination for the sinister. But the truly unsettling part wasn't the objects themselves. It was the arrangement, the deliberate placement that suggested rituals of a dark nature. There were circles drawn on the floor, cryptic symbols etched into the walls, and in the center of it all, a makeshift altar. The evidence was clear and undeniable. This cabin was a stage for something far more sinister than a simple retreat in the woods. And then, the realization hit me like a cold wind. This wasn't just a cabin, it was a place of nightmares. A place where the shadows whispered and the walls bore witness to unspeakable acts. It was a place that was meant to be left undisturbed, untouched by the outside world. The invitation wasn't a call to an adventure, but a trap. The words echoed in my head, a chilling reminder of the danger I had walked into. But the question that lingered was this: was it too late to escape? When faced with true terror, would you fight or flee? My choice was clear. I had to flee. But as I tried to escape, the cabin had other plans. Doors locked on their own, windows shut tight, trapping me inside. The horrors of the cabin weren't done with me yet. I had to face them head on. My escape was a battle, a struggle against the unseen. In the end, I escaped, but the horrors of the cabin still haunt me. What happens when your nightmares become your reality? When the echoes of screams still linger in your mind, and the cold fear clings to your heart like a second skin? The aftermath is a shadow, a haunting memory that whispers in your ear, reminding you of the terror of the unknown. We're curious creatures, drawn to the mysteries of the dark. But heed this warning: not every secret is meant to be unearthed. Remember, not all invitations lead to celebrations. Some lead to your worst nightmares.